welcome back to my channel. It's Netta like feta. Ding! And for those of you who know me off Instagram, it's Operation Surgeon. So today's video is going to be about the resources that I used to study for the MCAT. I'm going to go ahead and break it down into two parts, which is going to be the first part and the second part, the first time I took the exam and the second time I took the exam. So I'm kind of going to go through and explain what I thought about the products, and maybe you can go ahead and make a decision on what you might want to do if you're just getting started, so you don't make some of the mistakes I made. Now I just want to start off by saying I am by no means a professional in this. I am not an expert. I don't have my scores back yet. So take all this with a grain of salt. Yes. So I want to start off also by saying that I'm by no means sponsored by any of these companies. So everything I'm saying is an opinion of my own and my pure judgment. So let's get started. I want to go ahead and say that I started off my first time taking the exam a little bit overzealous in terms that I bought too much, which is kind of like the rookie mistake of just buying too much for no reason. Not only are you wasting your money, you are also overwhelming yourself a little bit, a lot of it. So I want to start off by saying I bought the 2015 MCAT Prep guide or box kit. It's a 7-book complete subject review. It has behavioral sciences, biochemistry, biology, gen chem, OChem, physics and math, critical analysis and verbal reasoning. And it also comes with this nifty MCAT quick sheets, which proved to be the most valuable thing, I think, in this entire book set. Now, mind you, I got a little bit overzealous and that's what I bought. But I also went ahead and bought a second book kit, which was probably the better of the two for me personally. So this is the Princeton review box. It's the complete set. Same subjects as obviously the Kaplan one. They both are planning to teach you everything that's on the exam as best as they can. They definitely have a different approach. So it says 3 full-length practice tests online. I couldn't find that. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right places. But they do hold true to the 2,450 questions that are in the books. And that's, spread throughout all the books. And I want to say the pictures, it says full color illustrations. Now, I want to talk about the illustrations because I'm a very visual learner. I want to say the illustrations were probably the winner for me. They're a little bit more childlike. They're a lot more simplified. And the pages are not glossy. I cannot stand glossy paper. I don't know why. It just feels like your highlighter just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Taking notes in like matte paper just gives me a little bit more life. A little something to hold on to, you know what I mean? So that's that. I bought those books, and I bought all these resources during the first time I took the exam, but I also ended up making the rookie mistake of buying these before I even decided if I wanted to take a prep course or not. Now, I took a prep course. I took a live online prep course with Kaplan. It was, I forget how many weeks. I think it was like 3 months maybe, but it was on campus at my university. I found a location that was on my university, which was really nice and convenient, but it was also really intimidating. Now, if you're a person who does not have a solid grasp on the content, going into a class like this might scare the absolute living shit out of you. And that's what it did to me. And I walked into that class with all these people and there's people who have taken the class before or they've taken the exam before. So you're gauging yourself against other people, which is a huge problem. And you're in this room with like people who might be gunners, and there's people who are literally the only people answering in class. You're like, how'd you know that? And meanwhile, you end up knowing it when you study for it. So it's kind of like one of those classes where I wasn't able to pace myself well. It puts pressure on you to study, but essentially I felt like they were just trying to teach me how to read, which is huge, and I give them props for that. But I realized that the little tips and tricks that they gave to me during that class that I tried to apply to the exam were actually slowing me down. When I was doing practice tests during the first exam, I tried to practice those tips and it just wasn't doing it for me at all. So first time was a total doozy, and I wasted money because not only had I paid close to $3,000 for a prep course, but I had also received a complimentary kit of books with Kaplan's prep course. So I didn't even need to buy the first batch. Like I just threw money out the window with that one because they ended up giving you their own set, which came with their own workbook, which is what you use during the prep course. So that little workbook is what you use during the class to follow through with their lectures. And it was really nice. The teacher was like this young woman. She was super cool. She like knew her shit. But at the same time, I felt like some people just don't, I don't want to like poo on her or anything, but like I don't think she was the one to teach. There's some people who just take really good tests, but they just don't know how to teach. Or, you know, bring it down to a level where it's a lot more understandable. Now I understand we're all studying for medical school and we should be high and mighty in terms of academics, but at the end of the day, it's like there's certain things that you just really need to have someone break down for you, and I wasn't really getting that. And I don't think you're ever going to get that in a prep course like that, because they expect you, I guess, to be on par with your content, which is something I felt that I was not. I was no way. I just kind of jumped into the prep, and these are certain classes that I hadn't taken for a really long time. So it was kind of like relearning everything all over again. So that brings me to my next section of life, which was the second time I took the exam. Now, I kept all my study materials. If you could see all the books I am surrounded by right now, you would be cracking up. Like, girl, you just, why did you spend so much money? So I want to go ahead and say that okay, sorry, sidetracked. I want to start off by saying that I took initiative and did a little bit more research this time. And I think that's huge. I did not do research the full time. I kind of really just picked what I saw looked popular. Not a good idea. Now, the second time I took the exam, I went to the AAMC and ordered their online kit. And I realized, you know, this is a good time to maybe try to get as close to AAMC content as possible, because I was realizing that the Kaplan prep courses for me were a little bit pretentious. Like, they sounded a little bit pretentious. And I feel like a couple of you heard me say that before, and I mean that, because their wording was just all over the place. Now, I understand that might develop your reading skills and your comprehension skills, but at the same time, I felt like it was a little bit unrealistic, and their exam content, like if you took their prep content, their passages were so short compared to what the actual exam was giving people. So the first time I took the exam, it was kind of like you walk into this and the biggest sidetrack is like how long the content is. Like the passages were so much longer than I intended them to be. So I made sure that the next time I took the exam, I would go in with that in mind, definitely pick up my comprehension skills. So what I did, and my Chem Phys, because that was my weakest section and I knew I needed to do more. So I want to start off by saying I ordered a online pack from the AAMC, and I think it was like $238. Don't quote me on that. I'll link it down below. And you can buy all the stuff separately, but I ended up buying the kit. It was not a horrible price considering I'd already dropped so much money on the Kaplan prep that I was like, what's this gonna do to me? Well, at this point, I'm like, whatever, pay it up now. First thing you get is, you can see my flags. First thing you get is the official guide to the Mcat exam. Now, this might be the holy grail for a couple people, only because it's kind of, it just like, it has 120 practice test questions written by the developers of the AMC, tips on how to prepare, everything you need to know about exam sections, and it's a comprehensive overview. This is the 4th edition. Now each, if it can't, I mean, comes with like passages and chemical and physical foundations, passage set 2, passage set 3. It just goes through all the sections and kind of tells you what you really need to focus on, essentially, which is nice. I'm not gonna lie, I never really used the book itself unless I was like really trying to get some physical writing in. Most of the time I use the online program that comes with it, which was wonderful. I think it was wonderful. It was set up like the actual exam, so it gives you that screen that you'll see on exam day with all their passages and all their questions. They have discrete practice problems. Each section that they give to you, I want to say they give you so many passage problems that it's like you are going to get a lot of practice out of that if you actually go through them. And these, I feel like if you do not buy anything from this entire thing, buy these. These are $10. These are literally the most awesome things ever. Like, for example, it gives you have all the sections. It has a question. Like, this is a physics card. Like, the yellow section is, I'm sorry, this is biochemistry. So you have the, is it gonna focus? It's not gonna focus. That's okay. Well, I'll just tell you. It goes, the Michaelis-Menten data for an enzyme in the presence and absence of an inhibitor is shown. Then it gives you the Vmaxes and then the Km, Michaelis constant. And then it goes inhibitor, no, yes. And then it gives you the numbers and it shows that, you know, the Vmax stays the same and then the Km goes up. And then it asks you which statement about the mechanism for an inhibitor binding is supported by data in the table. The inhibitor binds to, and then it goes down the list. And then on the very back, it gives you an explanation, a very nice long explanation, like competitive inhibitors bind in the enzyme active, like it just does that. And these are super helpful in terms of like, if you're just sick of doing passages. I think this was one of the most valuable things that I bought from this entire kit. Besides the passages from online, there's a lot of cards. Just flip through them. There's nothing that you can't not learn from this kit. If anything, you're doing content review in the form of discrete passages. You're also doing a little bit of comprehensive reading, trying to figure out, you know, like, am I looking for one true answer? Am I looking for 3 falses? What am I looking for? Am I looking for true if pot? Like, you know, it gives you that little edge. What else? What else? Now, we're going to compare that to the Mcat Flashcards from Kaplan. Now mine are all stacked up because I'm too lazy to put them back in, but this is exactly what the last day of my MCAT prep looked like. I was going through these just for, you know, just brushing up, if anything, before the night of the exam, because I was so sick of doing passages that I was like, I'm not gonna look at passages anymore. If anything, I'll just keep myself refreshed on like certain sociology concepts or psychology concepts, or, you know, just biochemistry in general, because I felt like it was super heavy in biochemistry, so that's what I wanted to focus on. These cards were nice. I don't remember how much these cost, but I got them on Kaplan too. I bought these the first time around also, so I didn't really use these the first time around. Sometimes you buy things and you never use them and you feel like they're a waste of money, so the second time around you try to use them and you try to get your money's worth. What else? So yeah, I had a lot of books, but I want to go ahead and say that I used UWorld as well. UWorld was kind of like, I feel like it came out of nowhere during prep, and I feel like they launched it right this month or something, because a lot of people started using it. UWorld, you can get an online account for like 15 days. You can try out their program. There's about 850 questions, I think. It was like 850 questions. And I thought it was nice. It was really nice. It sounded a little bit like Kaplan in terms of how pretentious they sounded, but their explanations were beautiful. Very, very much more descriptive than AAMC, which is kind of like the little, come on AAMC, you gotta give me a better answer as to like, why is this the right answer? Because they give you an explanation. The AAMC gives you an explanation in the pack that you buy online, the $230-something one. But it wasn't in the depth that you would want, considering this one would give you an explanation as to why each one was wrong. Which is huge. Like, you need to know why the answer you chose was wrong. Not the only reason, like, one of them was right because it was right. Like, that's kind of what their answer sounded like a little bit. But the pictures, I'm a huge visual learner. If you guys haven't already, like, figured that out. Visuals are huge for me. I need to see it to believe it. Yeah, I think definitely do your research before you drop some dough, because it is money. You pay a lot of money and you want to get the most out of it. I want to say, if anything, the flashcards and the Princeton review. Okay, so of the Princeton review books, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm just going to go and pick it up. It's on my floor right now. Okay. The biochem section, like you can even, like, this thing is covered in flags. But I would go through this book. Let me tell you how I use these resources. So I stopped doing pure content review. I really stopped doing that because I felt like I was getting myself a little bit overwhelmed, and because there's a lot of content there. You have a lot of content. So my best thing for people to do is, if you end up getting one of these programs, do not let your resources go to waste, because at the end of the day, these resources do expire, and you don't want to go through and be like, I paid this much money and I had all these resources that I could have used to help myself, but I never used them because I get this all the time, and I was too afraid to get the wrong answer. And I think that's a huge mistake. And the thing was, my sister was the one who actually helped me get past that. She's like, if you get the wrong answer, what? Like, it's not like, a freaking dungeon is gonna open under you and you're gonna fall to your death or something. Like, you're gonna fall into a pit of crocodiles if you get the wrong answer. Like, wrong lever crunk. But like, really? Like, don't be afraid to get the wrong answer, you guys. You know what I would do in the beginning? Just to like familiarize myself with like content, it sounds so like counterproductive, but I feel like it gave me the courage to keep going, because I would do this, especially for sections that I thought were just not my best. Like, for instance, let's say Chem Phys section. If I was doing a question bank with the AMC's like online thing, I would open up the section, and of the 120, I would read through the passage and try my best. If I couldn't even guess right, I would just click any answer, read the explanation, and move on to the next one. But if I didn't understand the answer, I would go to the book and I would flip to the section and read up on that and really try to understand what they were asking. Now, that's a really time-consuming thing, but if it's something that you have a hard time with, like physics or chemistry, for me, that's me, you want to do that just so you did what you had to do just to get yourself as close to possible as baseline. So I would do that for everything, essentially, up until the point where I was comfortable enough to do passages without looking at the answer. So then I would move from doing, and I would always keep the answer on. It doesn't show you the answer, but you can like pick your answer and then show the answer, which is nice because it gives you that immediate gratification of, did you get it right or did you get it wrong? Let's learn it now. Or like, even if you did get it wrong, even if you did get it right, but you just guessed, you're still gonna want to read why you got it right, because you guessed. You don't know why you picked the answer. So read that explanation. And I would go through, so another way I used the book was essentially, not only as a reference, but I really used it to keep myself accountable. Sometimes it's nice to have a physical thing in front of you so you can like scratch up on it. You can make little mnemonics for yourself. You can like literally, there were so many mnemonics that I like pulled out of the book. Sometimes they have little gems in there. They make mnemonics for you sometimes, and things that you might have not thought about. Pick their brain. They're there. That's what they're there for. What else? Oh, I kind of want to show you what I'm looking at right now. Maybe I'll show you guys. So this is what I made for like the day before the exam. Not the day before the exam. It was kind of like the week before the exam. Mind you, I told you guys that my physics section was my worst section. So I went ahead and made myself so this is like literally a piece of trash cardboard. I don't even know where I got it from. And I wrote all my equations and like all my things that I had a hard time working with. Can you guys even see that? Is it even clear? I don't think it's even clear. But here's the back side. So it was just like, I'm a big visual person. If you're a visual person, do this. Do stuff like this. I found that things like that ended up being the most valuable. It wasn't the books that I bought. It wasn't the YouTube videos that I watched. It was me physically drawing out things for myself. Oh, YouTube videos. Let's talk about that, because there's Khan Academy, who's highly advertised, which is amazing. I love their products. But at the end of the day, that reading style or that like education style works, but I also like seeing the person actually writing the stuff out. Now that like, you know, that like electronic board that they write on that just shows it on the screen, that's nice too, but only for certain subjects for me personally. So what I would do, there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Shomu. He has a page called Shomu's Biology. I'll link him below. Amazing. I used him a lot for the chemistry and organic chemistry lab mechanisms. Like go watch his ELISA assay talks. His biochemistry is on point. I appreciate him 100%. Thermochemistry, spectroscopy, all the lab mechanisms that you might come across on the exam or on the book. You definitely want to watch his videos. He does a very, very good job at explaining them in a very simple way, to the point where you're like, oh, that's all it was? Really? Man, I wish I watched that earlier. And there's another guy, I'll link him down below too, but he taught me this. Amazing. I wrote that, it's on my board right now. And his is the physics formulas. I thought that was probably the most I wish I had that during like undergrad physics, because that would have made my life so much easier. It's all I can show you right now actually. I don't think you can see it. Okay, see that little thing right here? See this little thing? This was taught by a guy on YouTube. I will find him and link him. He gives you the explanation as to what this entire thing actually is. I thought this was amazing. And the rest of the stuff is just equations that I thought were necessary. Or just, you know, sometimes you just want to write it out, just to get it out of your brain. I kind of like to do little scratch sheet things for myself. So if there's something I know I feel like I'm going to see a billion times, I'll do it a billion times. So a thing that I commonly saw on the practice exams and the practice passages was amino acids. I wrote down the amino acids so many times. I feel like they're drilled into my brain for the rest of my life, which is nice. It gives you that little boost of confidence, because there's so many things that you look at during the practice exams and you're like, I'm so glad I learned those. Those were all you had to do was memorize them, learn what their meanings are. I'm actually gonna make a video about that maybe. Amino acids. And ways to like visual memorizations. I have so many cool mnemonics that I developed during this exam just for myself that I feel like might help other people. So I'll post those eventually, or maybe I'll make a video explaining them, because they might need to be explained. Kind of like the guy and his video on physics, all those little equations. I love flowcharts. Make flowcharts. Do all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's basically all the resources I used. I'm trying to think if I used anything else. Very simple prep this time. Not simple, but like very targeted. I used mostly AMC. Towards the very end, for the 2 weeks, I used slightly bit more of the U-World, and I definitely used my flashcards. Highly, highly recommend these. $10. Amazing, amazing investment. And that's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and if you have any other questions, let me know. If there's any other videos you'd like to see, I will be coming out with another video soon. Stay tuned. And for those of you out there, I know someone who's gonna be helping me out with this. I will be doing collabs very soon. I'm so excited for that. Gonna kind of do like a pre-med spotlight. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, let me know how you guys like this video. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you want to see. Thanks. Bye guys. Take care.